This is Entrepreneurs Get Visible, the podcast for people who want more impact, influence, and income. I'm Anna Parker-Naples, and I'll be sharing with you proven methods from leading entrepreneurs that help you get visible as an authority in your field. Because anything's possible when you get visible. Today, I want to talk to you about a topic that I haven't covered on Entrepreneurs Get Visible. And given that we are now over 250 episodes in, I think it's high time that I did. We're talking today about using newsletters for business growth. And that growth, I have found so far that the newsletters build that growth because of credibility, authority, and a sense of community. There was a time that everyone with a blog was suddenly doing a newsletter as well. This is going back maybe 10 years, maybe 12, maybe a little bit before then. And then newsletters sort of died a bit of a death, and very few people were wanting to sign up for a general newsletter. However, what people were able to and very willing to give their lead generation detail, to give their email for, was to sign up for a freebie. And we've talked about that many times on this show, where that freebie might be an ebook, a download, a guide, potentially even an audio. And then you're able then to have them on your email list and reach out to them again and again and again whenever you're marketing or promoting for the period that they do not choose to unsubscribe. And obviously, disclaimer, making sure that you have got all of your GDPR in place, and that you're following all of those policies. But recently, LinkedIn added a feature called newsletters, and I at first was thinking, I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm going to see how that plays out. And there were a few newsletters that I thought were really interesting. And I started looking at the availability of newsletters for the podcasting industry, particularly written by someone in the UK. And what I discovered was that there was actually a really limited amount of people who were writing for business people in the consultancy space who had a track record in podcasting. So I thought, well, this is a bit of an opportunity here. And the more I looked into creating a newsletter on LinkedIn, the easier and easier it seemed. The other good thing with LinkedIn is when they create a new function, they prioritize it. So your content is heavily geared towards them promoting your newsletter if that's what you decide to create. There's also some interesting SEO possibilities with a newsletter too, because all of your LinkedIn posts are also helping and developing your SEO for Google. So I thought, well, this is a really sensible way to create some credibility and authority within the podcasting space itself. So I set about creating a newsletter, and the more I thought about it, I thought, well, if we're already creating this content, why don't we also send it to my list? So across the board, I think we've now got a reach of about 15,000. That would be across both my emailing list and my LinkedIn followers. And that's not to say that every time we send one out, we are getting 15,000 people reading it. I cannot claim that. But what's been really interesting is to come at it from an angle of, this is an opportunity to share with you the content that we've been creating. It's also an opportunity to put spotlight on our clients, and also to bring knowledge and education to people around the podcasting space. And what's been really interesting is that the first few that went out, we've now done, I think, 15 newsletters. The first few that went out were a little bit like crickets. And I did think, have we done the right thing? Is this something people are actually interested in? But over time, what's happened is that more and more people from within the industry are reaching out to me to say, oh, I'm really liking the way that that's put together. I'm finding it really interesting. I always have a read, even if I don't read it when it lands immediately in my inbox. I'll maybe come back to it later and I'll bookmark it. And that's really interesting. It's also giving us lots of opportunities to tag other people in our social media, which, of course, particularly on LinkedIn, the social media platforms really like that. They like the social element of it. So it's been a very interesting test. The thing that I also looked at was I discovered that it's very easy now to put a newsletter up onto Twitter. Now, I'm not actually a massive Twitter user. And we've decided for the time being, whilst I don't have a focus over on that platform beyond reaching out for PR opportunities, that we would actually pause doing this. But I want to just share with you how it works. So Twitter now have a collaboration, I guess, with a company called Revue, which is spelled Revue. And through Revue and its collaboration with Twitter, you are able to have your newsletter that you write and broadcast through Revue, and that pushes it out to Twitter. And you are able then to capture the emails of the people reading your newsletter and share it with them in that respect. And I think that's great. If you are a Twitter user, I definitely think that that's something you need to consider if you're over there quite often. As I said, it's not my preferred platform, but I just wanted to bring that to your awareness. Now, the reason that we decided to do both LinkedIn and my email system on my list is that on LinkedIn, what's great about it is that everybody who gets a copy, who subscribes to the newsletter, gets it delivered not only into their LinkedIn feed, but it also gets it delivered to the email address that they signed up to LinkedIn with if they are subscribed. However, you personally do not know their email address because LinkedIn has retained that data. So I thought, well, if I'm creating this content, I want to know exactly who's read it, who's clicked on the links, and also use the newsletter as an opportunity to build my list as well, which is why we also send it out to my list. And it's been really interesting to see which links get clicked, which ones don't, who is really engaging with the content, who doesn't even open it. And it's giving us a much broader understanding of exactly what my audience is interested in. So if you have not yet seen this newsletter, which incidentally, there is an opportunity every single week for someone to be featured, someone's podcast to be featured on the newsletter, then you can go and check it out and sign up at www.annapn.co/audiopreneur with a capital A. And you would then be able to sign up to get it delivered into your inbox. If you would prefer to have it over on LinkedIn, then come and find me over there at Anna Parker-Naples. That's my handle. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'd love to know, are you reading the newsletter, the Audiopreneur newsletter? Have you considered creating your own newsletter? And if not, why not? What's stopping you?
Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. To get your free checklist on how to raise your profile and to find out about our community, go to annaparkernaples.co.uk/get visible.